Hi, thanks for coming back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you on how to custom build a gaming. Alright, so let's get started. Before I put everything to the case, I like to kind of pre-build my equipment. Like pre-build the motherboard first, install the CPU, the RAM, and maybe install the CPU fan. Get everything all set up together on the site, and then once you have everything ready, then we'll transfer over to the case. So let's get started. So the first thing I'll do is to install the CPU. I'll show you how to do that. So it's kind of, you're going to press it in and push it. Okay, there are two clips. Remove the bracket. Here's the CPU i7. If you see closely, there's an arrow pointing this way. So what you want to do is it would go right on top of the CPU that's pointing this way. Okay, so you close the latch and make sure that this one closed first. Hold on to the bracket, latch down. So that's how you install the CPU. So the next thing that I'll do is to install the RAM. If you pay attention, there's A1, A2, B1, B2. The bottom here it says D2, D1, C2, C1. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have the RAM installed on the first number. So there will be A1, B1, D1, C1. Okay, it's a lighter gray, not the darker gray but the lighter gray. I only have 4 RAMs. Okay, these are Hyper DDR4 Predator RAM. So if you have 8 RAMs, you can install all 8 of them, but I have 4, so I'll be installing just on the lighter gray. Okay, all the RAM is installed. Nice and good. This is 950 Pro M2 drive, and we're gonna do the installation in here. This is the bracket that comes with the Asus motherboard. It goes right in like that, and you have the M2 solid state drive goes in there. Okay, I just want to make sure it's nice and firm. And that's how it looks like. Okay. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a pre-setup on the CPU, get it ready on the mounting bracket before I transfer onto the motherboard. So this is the model, Cooler Master Air Maker 8. Here comes the CPU as you can see, is pretty big. It looks nice and sturdy. What I'm going to do right now is to remove the fan. By pressing both sides on the corner, and that's how you remove the fan. You need to have these two brackets as well as the 4 screws. This screw is a little bit different. I'll show it to you. It has something that sticks out, rather than this screw right here is pretty much flat, not much of a sticking out. So we are going to install the bracket first, like this, on both sides. Come back with the screwdriver, tighten up, make it nice and tight. Same thing on the other side. Once you have that done, you can slide back in your CPU fan. And for mine, I'm going to leave it 1 notch up because my RAM is going to sit right there. If you have a taller RAM, you can actually adjust to whatever liking you want. So for me, just a 1 notch up. So make sure you have the fan placed in the right position. If you can see, the blade here is facing this way. If you turn it around, the blade is actually this way. So what that means is the blade that faces this way is actually your intake. It will suck in the cooler air, and the blade that faces on this way would actually exhaust out the heat to the back of your the back of the case. And I'll show you how to do that. So let's do the installation. Okay, before you install the fan onto the CPU, here's the 4 screws that I want you to identify carefully. The longer tip would be facing out here, and the shorter tip would be screwed onto the bracket. Okay, once you have that thing installed, what you want to do is to apply thermal paste on the CPU. The one that I got is Master Gel Maker. I'm just applying a thin layer of coating on top of the CPU. You have to peel this sticker off. and make sure you position the right way. This is the front, the intake and exhaust. The exhaust is going to face towards the back plate. Alright, it is well fitted on top, and I'm going to use the screw to tighten up. Alright, the installation is done. The next step I'll do is installing the power supply. This is not a new power supply. I took it off from an old computer. I'll be reusing the old power supply. And also, as I set up, I'll walk you through some of the cables here. So usually I'll just have them all the way, stick it to the back, get it out of my way, and I can set up the power supply. Okay, I'll be installing a 1000 volt power supply. This is a modular power supply. The fan will be pointing downwards to blow the hot air down. All the cables through this bracket to the back, and I'll do the cable management in a few minutes. Okay, these are Molex, 4-pin Molex connector and 4-pin SATA cable. Okay, once the thing is in, I'm just gonna screw it tight and lock it in. Okay, once you have the power supply installed, the next thing we will do is to install the motherboard back plate. It is very easy. You just start from the back. Alright, that's how you do that. So once that thing is installed, flip it over. So now this is the time you install the motherboard. If you have everything aligned properly, the motherboard will just slide in and sits on itself. And tighten out the motherboard. So I believe there are 9 screws for you to screw tightly on the motherboard. So at this time, I'll be installing the graphics card, the Thunderboard, and also the second M2 drive.
go, money talk.
Here comes the money, 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 money.
Wow, just an empty box. There's nothing much in there. Graphics card, drivers, and the menu. Okay, I'm removing the back plate. The two of this back plate where I can put in the graphics card. The next one I'll do is install PCIe to an M2 drive. This is a 1TB 960 Pro from Samsung. First you need to remove the bracket. You want to look for the 2280 slot. Okay, you want to make sure it's clipped in between, slide in between that bracket, and then you can come back here and tighten up with the screw. So you're all set. You have the 960 M2 drive installed, PCIe adapter. Alright, the next one I will install is Thunderbolt 3 PCIe adapter. Okay, I'm installing the hard drive. In the front, I'll be having two optical drives. So it's a clip-on. So it's a slide in, slot all the way in. Alright, so the next thing I would install would be the USB 3.0 in the front slot here. So you're just gonna follow the port that goes in there. Alright, at this time here, I'll be showing you on how to cable management. I'll be tying everything up at the back of the case. Okay, so what I did was I installed the power switch button, reset button, power LED light, hard drive lights that goes onto here. You have the audio that goes all the way to the back. This is a USB 2.0. It goes here. I have USB 3.0. This USB 3.0 is actually coming from the box here. This is the BIOS screen setup. I'll be showing you on how to set up my settings. You need to hit delete button or F2 to get into the BIOS screen. Go to advanced mode. I go to advanced storage configuration, and HyperKit mode I make it to enable. Okay, the rest of it is by default, that's fine. So it shows me my CPU temperature, the motherboard, the graphics card temperature. This looks good. Go to boot settings. Okay, for the hard drive priorities, I'm going to change my hard drive to the 256. 256 is the onboard M2 drive, and then the PCIe adapter is the 1 terabyte. Can disable that, so I just want them boot straight into the M2 drive, the 256. Go back. So the boot option priorities, the first one would be that, the second one is optical drive. My secure boot is enabled, is booting to UEFI, which is Windows 10. Everything looks good. I'm going to exit, save changes, click OK.